We are going to do, how we're going to do our recordings today is we're going to do an hour in the morning, an hour right now, and then we're going to do an hour at 11:30. So I'm going to do a quick hour. I'm just going to talk about a few of the downloads that I've received. We talk about, my name is Celeste, also known as Joanna. We talk about consciousness, high vibrational consciousness for the preparation of humanity moving into 5D, through the 5D gates, understanding all that we've been through in all of our 3D timelines, understanding the minutiae that we have to move through. Without question, everybody has to. We cannot get over this step. To learn about our higher vibrational experiences, we're going to be diving a little bit more into this series between now and the end of the year. We're going to be learning a little bit more about our DNA and our health, and understanding that each and every one of us has been on an infinite number of sojourns that we've been through the universe in various dimensional threads. We're going to focus right now on 3 to 5D. And in that 3 to 5D, each and every one of us has an infinite number of spiraling in this moment of now. Everything is now. We want to keep preparing ourselves for the multidimensional vibrations that will be in 5D as we pass through the 5D gates. And it will be all releasing those energies of time, past, and future, and just harmonizing in this beautiful now moment. So as much as you can stay within this now, is the experience that you're going to be manifesting in the now. You're preparing for the now. You're vibrating in your core vibration as the now. We're going to be talking about really important things that are coming up, because we all know how easy it is to get distracted with so much information and so many breakthroughs. A lot of the darker stuff that's being pulled out will make way for a lot of room vibrationally and a lot of light vibrationally. And we just need to allow ourselves, just writing this down so I don't forget. I got a lot of information coming in, and I want to try and get it in within the hour. So a lot of the, as the darker timelines are pulled and as the darker experiences are pulled, each and every one of our lives, you're going to be releasing all of that density within your field. So it's going to be really important to know that there's going to be a speeding up and a juxtaposition of the energies that you've been feeling really held back, you know, in a lot of the experiences. You've been really held back because of the energies and the densities in your field that were suffocating and leeching and harvesting off of your energy. A lot of those will be pulled out. Many of us are meant to keep moving forward on a forward trajectory. Hello, sweetheart. Hello, sweetheart. Hello, sweetheart. We're going to be talking about a lot of so I was just introducing. We're gonna have an hour, and then we're gonna take an hour break, and then I'm coming back at 11:30. So I'm gonna do an hour to 10 to 11, and then 11:30 to 12:30 PST time. So I'm going to try and talk really fast. So just relax yourselves and open up your spine and just take in what we're going to talk about. We're talking about this area of integrating our 5D experiences, and we're going to be opening into a big window of just a lot of energies that are going to be present for us. Now, in the energies that are going to be present for us, we must negotiate and navigate what feels true for us. So we want to talk about a few very important things, and then of course it's free will, up to everybody to sort through how they sit with it all. As I said, Source is going to be pulling out a lot of those darker experiences so that it can free up a lot of space within our multidimensional fields that we're all sitting within. Each and every one of us has our multidimensional fields. And within our multidimensional fields, if there is a lot of density and you're not clearing it, you're not cleansing it, you shouldn't be waiting for Source or anybody to do the understanding and the commandmentship and the clearing and cleansing of your fields. You have to do it. You have to do the cleansing and clearing of your fields. And so just understand that as you're coming into these higher and higher vibrational gates, it's going to be really easy to get distracted. And distractions can come in an infinite number of ways, but we always have to keep returning back to who are we, what we exist within us, God within us, so that we can maintain the highest sustenance and the highest maintenance of our core vibration. Because it is only our core vibration. It is we can make ascension very simple, and as much as that is being inundated in our energy fields and in our daily reality, all that matters is our core vibration. And so our core vibration will be the end state through which our focus, our direction, our intention throughout our day is manifesting. And so now we've been through these, very beautiful ascension classes and courses that I've offered for 17 years. And so now we're getting into this very refined state between now and January. They're showing me the middle of January is going to be that next vibrational jump through which consciously, multidimensionally vibration, we're going to know a big transition has hit. As these darker timelines get pulled, it might take a couple of weeks before you start feeling the adjustments in your field because I felt it already. So by the time you're going to be feeling it in the collective, I'm usually a little bit ahead of the collective, so I can explain and present and prepare the collective for what's coming. You're going to start feeling the ease and the quickening of the vibration. But what that does is it brings us back to older energies of fight or flight and being safe and soothing within our environments, which is not what we want to do. It's okay to soothe within our environments if we've practiced and training higher vibrational, higher dimensional, and higher entrainment environments, but most of us have not. And so it's going to be easy for us to we'll just put this down as well, because I noticed this at one of my other comments. We're not going to put any of our on our chat lines and in our comments. We're not going to be we're not a promotional site for people to put their come shopping with us. I noticed a few of our comments in our on my channel. They were presenting themselves and tarot readers and getting free readings and stuff like that. So don't press any of the links that are coming obviously in the chat line or on the comment fields in my videos. I don't subscribe to them, and I wouldn't promote anybody that comes and does those things. So again, that's up to you. But so anybody that's coming on to promote your things and to promote your readings, it's bad. It's just not very good karma. It's kind of not classy at all. And we just noticed a few minutes ago that there was 20 people from the organized crime groups that have signed on. So again, you know that there's a lot of AI bots and a lot of things that are going on that are not benevolent, but we have to discern into it. And then just, Archangel Michael, please refine the energies in this space, please. We're here for higher consciousness learning. We're here for the preparations of humanity moving into the 5D gates. I'm asking the multidimensional frequencies of the galactic federations, please bathe and cleanse and protect this space for the clients listening now and future now moments, so that our fields may be aligned to the unity consciousness of one as we're moving into higher vibrational dimensional informations. And we open up our heart space, our collective heart space, our divine sacred heart space, our diamond sacred heart. And this is what you'll see on my illustrations as the DSH. And all of my illustrations are my intellectual property. Nobody has any right to produce or reproduce my image or my content or my intellectual properties in any way whatsoever. I've never given permission. And there's been people that have been using my content, that have been using my ideas and inspired by my ideas and making their own AI pages and their own fake content pages and then calling it their own. If you're going to be using inspiration from somebody that you admire and somebody that has been providing you a lot, it is equal opportunity for you to also give back to them and just say, I hope it's okay if I used a few of your ideas. Is it okay if I link your page? And so you can that's equal reciprocity, and it's also giving you good karma. So again, you want to build unity and you want to build bridges within the collective. It's not building bridges if you're using other people's ideas and you're calling it yours. So again, those of us that have been doing this ascension work, we've been doing it since the day we were born. We were brought here as alchemists, we were brought here as light beings, we were brought here as angels. And it's very bad form, it's poor form, if you will, for anybody that's just going through awakening to say that, oh, I just woken up and I'm starting my new awakening website, and you're now catching up, but you're not even going in and processing what you're really going through. You're not even processing the reverence and the sacredness of your time with Source. You're just going out and you're starting to spew all of this awakening information into the collective. That is not the highest form of why you're doing what you're doing. It's kind of jumping over the whole sacredness point because you want to get on the bandwagon. That's going to be your karma in any event, because it is a process of, a sacred awakening is a process that's very sacred. And every time you go through an awakening, you give yourself, as I've talked about in all my books, and it's totally free will. Everybody can do whatever they want with it. But you do know that if you're doing what you're doing for the intention of, is exactly where and why and how your karma will be received. So again, we've talked about intention and karma. Why you do what you do and how you do what you do will return back to your exact karma. If you're doing what you do to get at the front of the line, if you're doing what you do to win, if you're doing what you do to compete, if you're doing what you do because you want to get your foot in there and start promoting and building and whamming the whole industry with your business brand, that's not the higher concept of awakening or ascension. It's that we're not running business that way anymore. That's 3D mindsets where you've got to build a promotional team, you've got to build an advertising team, you've got to do this. That's not what we're doing. 5D is not about that. 5D is simply about aligning who you are as a multidimensional being, your vocation and your gifts and skills, and how you can do this by focusing everything that you're doing right now should be focusing on your core vibration. The more that you focus on your core vibration, you're going to be attracting naturally those people that will be attracted to your core vibration. And Source does all the rest. You don't have to worry about putting thousands and millions into a promotion and brand and market, all of those things. You don't have to worry about that anymore. We are going through a refinement period where the wheats and the shafts are being separated, which means that you will be known more and more every day and every hour by your core vibration. So that should be, as I do my vocational alignment sessions, is what I teach people how to transition from 3 to 5D mindset, is to understand that you're now going to be operating more and more from your source vibrational field. Your source vibrational field, Source doesn't have to pack up, all of Source's, vibrational teams and vibrational marketing teams. Source doesn't do that. Source's word is Source's word. As I showed in my last video, when Source said that, I had to, I was going to say something on behalf of what I was feeling on how it had hurt me, on how people, disregard Source, and they put Source through all of these tests, and they put God through all these tests, and they keep testing the hand of God and all those things. That just makes me feel like, I want to stick up for God. And then God says, you don't have to say those things. Like, I don't need that. Like, they're going to go through what they're going to go through, and they're going to have their own testing phases, because we're moving into a time period where everybody's moving through awakening, and it's quickening. It's a quickening, awakening phase. But I try and bring things down because I've been doing this my whole life, and I've come here from many other timelines doing it. And this is where us that have had so much experience, and us that are the masters, we are the elders, we sometimes have to sit the younger tribe down and say, just sit back and relax. You're still a student. You still have to sit down and understand what we're moving through as a collective sacred experience. You have to sit down and just honor what reverence is all about, and maybe do a few weeks of just sitting with yourself and sitting with reverence and what that feels to you. And then start sitting into say, okay, well, in my vocational alignment from 3 to 5D, what are all of these things that I can get rid of? Because 5D is not 3D. 5D is you manifesting from your core vibration, period. So if you're not working on your core vibration, on who you are, what your gifts and skills are, and what you exist within, and what's going on within you as your gifts and skills and talents, then it doesn't matter how much promotion you throw at stuff. It doesn't matter how much you think about anything. It doesn't matter how logical you are about anything. You still have to go into the vibration of what is my highest intention for my excitement for being human, my excitement for being an awakened source human, and then how I can just vibrate and just be the highest version of me. That's it. That's your promotional marketing package. That's it. Because what's going to differentiate you from all of the other energies out there, because all of the other energies out there are still going to be scurrying about because they don't know who they are and they're not aligned to 5D. All you have to do is vibrate within your core vibration of authentic and genuine skills, gifts, and talents of who you are as source creator. That's it. In that, as you focus on these vibrations, core vibration, we're talking about today, our topics today are organic alignment, source essence. This is going to be so pivotal because you can get yourself in a scurry hurry and fly all over the self, all over your higher self and your bigger self and all of the expanded selves, but you're going to have to keep reeling yourself back in out of those distractions and keep yourself focused on just your core vibration, loving yourself, healing yourself, and just allow the higher vibrations to just show you those pings and those synchronicities and those things that God always shows you. That's God's job. God will always show you those aspects that are, showing you what your highest gifts and skills are, what your highest talents are. Again, remember the gift, skills, and talents is that when you're cleansing out that density, when you're doing the daily ascension pathwork, when you're focusing on your vibration, part of the positive of that infinity, when you're working on the negative of the infinity and working on your shadow and working on your woundsings and doing all of those darker stuff, the gifts and skills and talents that's what's activated in the positive part of the infinity. And part of that is, your gifts, your skills, and your talents is going to be all of your ancestral gifts. So I'm going to be practicing today, as I've been saying in my last couple of videos. I've had quite a few of my ancestral celestial gifts and shamanic gifts that have been activated. And I've been showing you as I've been passing people through the gates. That was part of one of my shamanic gifts from many, many timelines. Is just assisting with transitioning of souls to the various dimensions of realms and the various dimensions of vibrational octaves that they want to move within. And so I do assist source in that because there are a lot of, depending on how traumatic their leaving was and their death was, a lot of the souls get, because it was such an impact of trauma, they get their energies and their souls and their spirits get stuck because it was so unfair, it was so unjust, or it was just such a traumatic impalement. And some of those energies and some of those souls and spirits, they do get stuck. And if there's important messages that their souls, have to leave with their family, if their family is going through a really bad transition of their family's death, as we've been talking about, the corrupt shadow governments and so on, and secret societies. Thank you to the people that donate. I was able to get some juice. I love you, my friends. And so in that, we really want to keep our focus on all of that we are and all of our breaths. So we're just going to slow down right now. We're going to call in with intention before we open up I've only got a half an hour left because I've got another hour booked at 11:30. So I want to get through as much information as we can right now, and we'll finish off the information at 11:30. It's usually not chopped up like this, but today it is. So just take a big breath and just call in all of your soul fragments, call in all of your light. And we just want to have the intention that going through these integrations to 5D, we know that things are going to be speeding up and it's going to feel a bit uneven and imbalanced. We want to call in all of our soul fragments and all of our soul energy and all of our soul light and our thought forms. And we want to ground into peace and balance and feel all of the light collecting in your pillar of light. And just intend all of the light, your crystalline light, to go into the earth and into the new 5D grids. And that we have commandmentships, say with great honor and great power and empowerment through Source Creator. Through the higher self, I am always commanded. Through the higher self, I am always aligned. Through the higher self, I ground all that I am. I am the driver, I am the writer. My life is very simple and easy. I live within the highest vocational alignment of my own unique gifts, skills, and talents. I don't have to look outside of me. There is no competition. There's no spending inordinate amounts of money on promotion and ideologies of 3D, because we're not going to be in 3D anymore. You will be known by your vibration. You will be known by your light. So the highest opportunity for each of you to do is to continue working on your vibration. And then as you work on your vibration, you will have the gifts, the skills, and the talents awakened, activated, reminded, brought forward in visions and dreams. And your work with your teams every day, your work with your ancestors every day, will allow you to remember the highest maintenance and sustenance in these very important times of transition is your organic alignment to Source. And we say this out loud, so we want our cells and our body and our light body to hear. In the highest intention of my higher self commandmentship, my higher self Christ consciousness, my higher self crystalline light, as an ascended being of the universe, I'm giving myself commandment to move through all transitions and all changes with my highest organic alignment to Source Creator, through which I will remember and I will honor and work with my higher soul's blueprint with the heavens, why I'm here and what I exist within, what exists within me, with my collective, on my gifts and skills and talents serving my collective, and within the collective Gaia blueprint. And always remain, it is so important, we're going to talk about this probably in our second hour, the highest capabilities that our bodies have to transform. This is going to be very important. Please write this down. And if you want to class with me, if you want a session with me, for those of you that are not quite, and I've always struggled to feel Source Essence, to feel Spirit, because I'm going to talk about this in the second hour, when it comes to our hybridization, when it comes to our DNA allocation, and when it comes to who we are, where we've come from within our galactic celestial experiences, and how disconnected and separate we have been, and the dogmatic ideologies within our social collective of 3D, how you maintain and how you even activate your crystalline energy. Crystalline energy is equal to and important of sustenance and maintenance within the Gaia slipstream, within the Gaia energies, within the Gaia environments. And our connection with all nature and animals will be very, very important for those of us that are high in crystalline energy, that are high functioning in crystalline aptitude, in crystalline offerings. Those of us that are very select sensitivities that are moving within the crystalline slipstream, within the crystalline, we say slipstream within the body that of itself, but also the slipstream within the omnipresent is also changing and shifting. So those of you with great crystalline energy, we've talked about it in all of my ascension classes that have been with me for a while, you understand this. But I'm going to bring through some new information that I channeled this morning about the crystalline energy. And it's going to provide us with a bit more information on how and why and what we can maintain an organic alignment with Source. organic. Because there's going to be many great things coming to humanity, including inventiveness for medicines and inventiveness for healing great diseases and all of those things, and how we can traverse about the multiverse and the galaxy. But we cannot get too ahead of ourselves, and we must slow ourselves down and remember the organic grounding to who we are as source is the utmost importance, and why we have to go through the experience of daily pathwork and understanding that the foundations of who we are, divine feminine, divine masculine, and healing those energies of integration, fragments, and the soul aspects through the dodecahedron, and doing your work daily will allow you to maintain the highest level of intelligence, crystalline activated, because you have crystalline intelligence that's activated. Those that are not high in crystalline intelligence will go into the second hour of our show, because it's different than we've talked about before. Those that are not high in crystalline energy or crystalline DNA, because there are many people that are not high in crystalline DNA. And there's a reason for that. It all has to go back to the DNA of the hybridized programs and where you've come from in your galactic histories, and how you have your lineages and how you're Akashic, and why we went through what we went through with the dark societies and the dark occults and all of those Illuminati experiences that we've been dealing with. It has to go back to the mirroring of our galactic Star Wars and our galactic wars, is because they had taken themselves out through entropy transactions, through karmic transactions, through taking themselves out of their entire lineage through these dark practices, that they have not allowed themselves any light within their bodies and any light within their maintenance and sustenance, that they cannot and no longer activate crystalline light. And they cannot even be born with crystalline energy within them. Therefore, that's then they have to be taken out of this universe's program of evolution. This universe's program of evolution will be highly more and more advancing and more incorporating of crystalline energy. Now, again, because we're talking about the triad on this channel, I always talk about the triad of universes. There's a lower universe and there's a higher universe that we move within slip streams of energies, and why certain of us, like myself, move back and forth between the multiverses so that I can deposit certain Christ consciousness into the grids and into the daily experiences. And I'm moved around quite a bit through the galactic federations because I understand the Father's plan in this. I understand my gifts and skills and talents in this. We're giving every universe the highest potential to take upon itself its ability to be Christ consciousness crystalline. To be Christ consciousness and crystalline, which means that you can have the eternal life perspective, opportunity, potentiality within your lineage and within your species. But as we said again, we are moving through the healing of many of our universal galactic wars, through which, and even so, we have the mirroring on our planet and have been for hundreds and hundreds of years. The very ignorant and low vibrational dark occult practices through which it has been used as an abusive tool to get and to rape and to have, because the people are not being healed. So again, everything that we've been saying on my channel about where did the human wounding begin, a lot of it's the mirror of the galactic wars, why people choose dark occult practices, secret cult societies, hate groups, and things like that. There's a lot of misunderstanding on our planet with regards to spiritual knowledge and spiritual intelligence, as well as who are we, what do we exist with, and what's going on within us. And then again, how do we compensate to create a higher vibrational species? Well, again, we need higher light, wisdom, intelligent teachings, which is what we've been talking about. We've been having our channel still is closed. Our channel is not gaining any momentum in our growth. And so YouTube has still managed to keep my platform closed. So Source is going to be opening me up so that I am available to all of the collective. We need to understand these very rich, very robust experiences on our collective as a whole, why we have to shift our perspective on medicine, healing, education, and how we perceive each other within our collective, just in the understanding that each and every one of us is a different makeup. It's a different co-creation makeup of our DNA, hybridized allocation of crystalline energy or not, and our Christ consciousness and how much of it has been worked with or not. Because again, we're just moving from a very low vibrational, very segmented, very separative church and religion and dogmatic teachings, which are not high intelligent at all. They're just very basic box store beliefs. we now have to shift to our higher vibrational perspective so that we can start integrating higher vibrational social systems, higher vibrational social learning and intelligence and education, so that it's going to match the higher crystalline energies and the higher crystalline harmonizations, the higher crystalline integrations, which is what we teach and what we offer. Now, again, we have to go back. We'll probably hit it on our next hour at 11:30 about I'm the only one that teaches this, the hybridized program, and about the concentration of the crystalline energy and what that is and how much of our DNA is that. We must obviously start researching and start developing papers and ideologies and study groups, and we must start really creating that widespread source balance, our highest organic alignment with source, because our highest organic alignment with source, the omnipresent fields means that the information is there for everybody. But you again have to get in the elevator and you have to unpack those downloads. My unpacking my downloads has to do a lot with the hybridized program. Where are we going? What are we moving into? And how do our bodies maintain its highest vibrational core vibration? Your core vibration will determine what vibrational reality you sit in. So again, why it's so important. Every day, at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, return yourself back to what are my key points to maintain my grounding, to maintain a beautiful organic resonance with source, resonance with Gaia, and resonance with your collective. You want to be not of your collective, but in your collective, right? You don't want to be vibrating at your collective's energy. You want to be setting the momentum that is right for you. And this is why, because everybody in our collective is just still awakening, it's still new, there's going to be a lot of distractions going back and forth. And one of those will be, which we're very proud and we're very grateful for, but we also must sit back, whoa, Nelly, get the fishing line and come back. All of the awakening people that are perhaps, higher in their celestial DNA or alien energy, and they're very, very keen about awakening, but they haven't done any of the reverence, they haven't done any of the foundational work, they haven't done any work with their higher selves, they haven't done any alignment with their higher selves, but they just really want to get on the awakening because there's a lot of energy and information and intelligence there. That's really well and great. But we do have to woe back, pull the reins back, and you do actually have to build your foundation of who you are and become into a higher, absolutely beautiful, balanced alignment with Source Creator. You have to have this and you have to know this. If you go back to all of my videos, the reason why Source is moving me up is because of my initiations with the Masters, my initiations with the heavens. I don't cheat and I don't sway. I don't sell my soul. I don't cheat. I don't sway. I don't buy myself out. I don't sell myself out. My path is very direct with Source. I have a very threaded, very close enmeshment with Source. It is that straight line. And there are people, because they have higher intelligence, they want to get going on the bandwagon. They want to speed through it. But again, you're going to be pulled back at some point because your higher self does have to negotiate and navigate with you on all that you're here to learn as the progression of your soul. This progression of your soul, if you've been a very successful business person, your progression of your soul, this series of your soul, might be to sit back and just observe the collective for the first year. Because you're going to be developing perhaps some technology that will advance, but you can't create the technology if you're just wanting to jump right into it and spend a whole bunch of money on promotions and advertising when you're not understanding the collective footing. You're not understanding the vibration or your own. So again, you can waste a lot of your business money, you can waste a lot of time and lots of energy when you haven't even collected within yourself. It will be very important that we maintain grounding and slowing down, because now that we're going through the 5D gates, we can be in 5D forever. It's a really expansive bandwidth. We're just getting started, so let's do it right. And this is why Source will lift people like myself and really ground the collective into what is the higher importances. What are our highest motives, and what's our checklist? What's our biggest checklist right now that we can focus on daily? And it is all of your vibration, grounding and your health and healing, and really letting go of as much distraction as possible. Now, as much distraction as possible doesn't mean that we can't play with our technology and AI. However, we must slow down because there's going to be a lot of things that'll be moving into place. We must allow Source Creator to do what Source does. There is still a profound amount. Take a deep breath. We want to ground this intention with our collective. You're the collective leaders for your collective. You're the head of the gang. You're the one that's going to be opening the gates for much of your collective around you because you've been with me for a very long time and you are the leaders. You are the masters. You are the elders. And ground. There is still a profound amount of healing that must be done through ascension pathwork and light intelligent wisdoms, because we all know now that we are multidimensional, multi-vibrational beings, and we must maintain our alignment and organic resonance with Source Creator. Above all, that should be your number one mantra. And your number one mantra can be your daily pathwork to maintain and sustain this. Because again, the only thing that matters about this process of ascension is your core vibration that you are only responsible for. And you're going to be hearing a bajillion and one things because of the mass people that will be awakening. They're going to be adding their contribution and their best way and their this and their that. You will still have to build your own foundation for what is working for you. Your DNA is not their DNA. Your gifts and skills and talents and awakening and wisdoms is not their awakening and wisdoms, and so on. Every single human has a different DNA allocation. They have a different perspective of what has been activated. And some of these beings may not even be activated in their crystalline. They may not even have crystalline energy. It does not say that what they have and what they don't have to offer is not valid. It is. Everything that everyone has, this and that, is true. So this is where we want you to just sit back. You don't have to watch and have your popcorn. We want you to be engaged and involved because it's a very exciting time for humanity and our celestial collective. But what we don't want you to do is we want you to be very cautious of being one of those ones that jumps on the bandwagon and starts creating 10 or 5 businesses because you're already advanced in your intellect and because you are, a lot of DNA in your alien experiences and you are higher intellect and you can get moving when the energies do start picking up. You do have to sit back and you do have to do the work with your higher self. Why are you here? What is your gifts and skills and talents? Have you been truly working with Source Creator for a full year? Have you been clearing out your sexual centers? You do have to understand the light body. You do have to understand your chakras. You do have to understand your sexual life force. And have you got that in balance? Have you cleared out your sexual energies? And again, we have to go back again. Most of the people on our planet have a very imbalanced perspective and reflection on their own sexual life force. They don't even know what that is. Most people on our planet do not have a daily interaction. They do not have a daily engagement, and they do not have a daily connection with their chakras. And so we really must slow down. Just slow down, people. We're going to be here for a while. Just slow down. We're so excited that now, as we said, this couple of weeks here has been the refinement, the wheat from the shaft. So we are going to be refined. We're going to be moved. We're going to be shifting with those people that will assist us so that we can start creating what is needed for the Divine Father's plan for this new 5D, diverse, creative, expansive New Earth star. We're being prepared the right way. We want to make sure that everybody just slows down and anchors. We are going to do this the right way, humanity. We're not going to have any further corruptive secret societies and cults. We're not going to have sacrificing and raping of the children. We're not going to have trafficking and black web selling of people back and forth because you know that the sister down the lane has a gift and skill and you want to sell her to the black web and you want to make as much money. We're not going to do this anymore. We're going to do this the right way. We will move forward with integrity. We will move forward with anchoring and having the purest resonance with Source Creator. Because it doesn't matter what your long-term goals are about having and being the first human collective on the planet where we're actually creating our own light ships. Because we have been balanced and we've shown enough healing time that the Celestials will assist us in downloading those experiences and instructions so that it's not going to be weaponized. But we have to do our healing first. Galactic Federations will not release these downloads to us. And we don't need the fuels and we don't need the rocket technology that we have. We don't need it. We're going to be manifesting through consciousness. Consciousness is the technology. But as again, all of those getting really fast in their steps and already starting to plan, you need to sit back and you need to absolutely honor and have in reverence your organic alignment with Source. You cannot get on the bandwagon, cheat your way and jump your way, because again, you're not taking the time and you're not doing the work. Your guides and your teams will sit you down, or you're going to manifest a lot of really bad karma. We're going to do it right this time. You're not going to manifest what you're going to manifest. And like we've seen over the past 5 years, is a lot of people taking other people's content that have been doing the work for their whole lives, like myself. You know, my work is my work. I've been doing it for a very, very long time. And then there's people that, you know, they kind of awaken. They haven't really seen what they awaken. Maybe they do tarot cards or something. And then they're going to, you know, use my content and create a fake page. It's not the same. I'm a vibrational teacher. I'm a vibrational healer. I'm enmeshed with Source Creator. There is no other planet. There is nobody else on the planet like me. And I'm going to be moved in my position so that I can assist in taking the collective along in a beautiful stride so that we're doing it right this time. We're going to heal who we are. We're going to heal those sexual wounds so that we're not creating trafficking rings anymore. We're not creating the RICO rings anymore. We don't need to do anything outside of us that takes from another, hurts another, or harms another, because we will follow the universal laws, right? Use of free will and non-interference. Because we need that balance. Why? Because everything that even our highest minds of this planet will be creating and manifesting through each and every one of you, because each and every one of you are a part of the collective heart.